Like a craft beer through a pint glass, these are the gays of our lives. A show where Lisa and Avery get out their gay decoder rings to decipher the gay alphabet and bridge the gap between the older and younger LGBTQ community and everyone fucking else. And now here are your hosts, Lisa and Avery. Don't blame them.
Hey guys, it's Lisa.
And Avery, and this week on The Gays of Our Lives, we have a new special guest.
Indiana's own Dana Black.
What's going on, y'all? I'm sorry. I don't mean to giggle, but y'all cute.
Thank you. Yeah,
Gays of Our Lives. That's a pretty awesome title. How'd y'all come up with that one?
Well, it's just clever. You know,
Clever,
we're comedians.
Yeah, okay. That's what's up. That's what's up.
You know.
I honestly all I said was we should make a show and it should somehow relate to the community.
And then came up with soap opera?
Yeah, she just got this really punny thing.
Yeah.
I got you.
I would say it's easy to throw around too.
I always say homo sweet homo too. So, I always say that kind of stuff. So I was like, that works out pretty well, I think. It's very catchy and people remember it. So
excellent. I love it.
Thank you for coming on.
Oh, pleasure. It's a pleasure.
We are exploring every part of the gay alphabet, basically, and every letter and everything, and going back to the L. I mean,
okay, right.
You're
lesbian. Yes, lesbian.
How long have you been out?
Damn. Now you want to make me Now you want to make me turn my age. I came out in 1990 when I was 20 years old. So, I've been out for 28 years. It's a long time.
Wow.
Long time. I'm an old head.
No, I was a lot further back than you, so we'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
When we were still sneaking in the back door.
Yeah. At the 10. For sure.
You were creeping in the back door, parking with that raggedy parking lot.
The stamp.
Get the stamp. Yep.
You have no idea.
Yeah,
that was when it was fun.
Oh my gosh, the first night that I ever went to the 10 was Halloween night. So I went. It was 1990 Halloween night, and literally I was it was crazy packed. But then it was because I hadn't really dealt with me, and didn't know where I was fitting in the world. It was I saw a room full of me's, and I was like, that's me, and that's me, and that's me, and it's I'm home. And the sky opened up and the sun came out and I ain't looked back.
So were you oppressed per se as far as your gayness in the closet?
Well, oppressed. So I didn't come out in high school because I had enough drama going on being a dark-skinned black woman with the last name Black.
I'm sure.
There was enough teasing going on as it was.
I bet.
Didn't need any more. And I wasn't brave enough. I wasn't confident enough. I actually sometimes think because of the exposure, kids don't even get to really be kids anymore. I got to just kind of not worry about my sexuality so much in high school. My concern was I actually going to make the basketball team, right? I knew that I liked girls, but I wasn't really there with coming out. Of course, I was raised in a church. I was the sisters in the church were grooming me to be the next chick in charge of the church, and I think when about 16 or 17 when I got a job and I started working, people started going, something's amiss here. Something's not quite right. So, but I got all that same information that most people get from Baptist churches about what homosexuality is all about. Mm-hmm. So I internalized it. I didn't really start to feel the pressures of what it was to be gay until I came out, because I wasn't in that space. I was in the land of denial, pretending and doing all those things. And by the time I came out, I knew that there wasn't enough room for me and my shoes in the closet. So I never spent any time hiding in the closet. Once I was out, I was out.
Yeah.
Once I acknowledged it to Dana that you're gay. Okay, I'm gay. That was it. So I didn't really, and then my mother made it super easy because somebody outed me to my parents. I didn't even get a chance because I was like still new, like I was a baby stud. I'm not even a stud yet. I was still trying to figure all of it out.
Did you
right?
know what a stud was yet?
Yeah, no. I literally like still trying to figure out this. Like, oh, there's different categories of lesbian.
Back then there wasn't really though, I don't think, but there was well there was two. There was only two, I think, back then though. There was Butch and Femme.
Yeah, Femme and Stud. Femme and Stud, yeah, same thing. So somebody outed me to my mother, and she, reached out to me and she was like, yeah, there's rumors out there. I hear that you're gay. And I was like, well, yeah, Mama, I am. And she was like, you know what? I don't understand it and I may not like it, but you're my baby and I love you.
That's awesome.
And so I was able to really just tell the rest of the world, you know what? She actually got me braces. You know what I'm saying? She actually took me to the doctor and bought me shoes. Y'all ain't did nothing for me, so I really don't care what y'all think. This woman actually raised me and cared for me, and if the person who, gave you your foundation is the one that says, I don't necessarily understand this thing, but you're my baby and I'll never turn my back on you. And I'm an adopted child. So for her it was like, yeah, okay, all right, we'll just deal with it, And this was, again, 1990. And my mother was actually born in 1929. So she was, so by the time I came out, my mother was in her 60s. Yeah, she was in her 60s when I came out.
We were very similar in that. I came out in 89.
Okay.
My mom was in her late 50s. She was almost 40 when she had me. She was getting ready to turn 40 when she had me.
My mother was 41 when I was born.
Yeah, so similar.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom didn't, she was so backwoods with her upbringing and stuff that it wasn't okay really to be gay at first. It took her a little bit, but she came around finally. So, I mean, I think that's awesome that your mom was just like, because it was harder back then because it wasn't out like it is now.
And then, as the relationships changed, you transition from being a kid to a young adult, the conversations change. And at first I thought it was me. Excuse me, I thought she did have an issue with me. And then one day she said, Dana, I work in a hospital. Oh, you probably see all kinds of people in a hospital. And so I had to learn it wasn't her having issue with me. It was me having issue with her thinking she wasn't understanding me. But she got it all along. She said, my mother said she knew I was gay when I was 12. I didn't know I was gay when I was 12.
Right.
I just remember, why do I have to have white skates? How come I can't have black skates?
You know what? I never had the white skates.
I never had white skates.
Nope.
I always had black skates
There you go.
and I always had dirt bikes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm confused with the white and the black skates.
White skates are typically feminine. Black skates
Roller
were
skates.
roller skates.
Oh, okay.
Not roller blades, roller skates with the 4 wheels.
Okay, see, that's even...
See, generational.
Right?
Generational. and no offense, but it's like, I remember when the inline skates
Never
came
brown.
out. And I was like, who's putting that on? Because, roller skates actually had, they were like mini skateboards.
No, I never,
What?
honestly, I never
They were
had
skateboards for your feet.
There you go.
Well, let's see, then we had, even though there was, USA Skate and all that, you could roller skate, but then me and my brothers were all, inline skaters.
You guys usually only probably had the brown ones.
I don't even,
Well,
I don't even
the
know
Reynolds.
I don't even know what we had.
The Reynolds, but I had black skates.
I refuse to ever wear browns and
Yeah.
whites.
Yeah, I had black skates, and we used to fight at least once a week about how often I should wear a skirt.
Oh, that was never a question.
Which I thought was the dumbest argument ever. First of all, I don't like them. So why would you make me wear something I don't like? Second of all, they're uncomfortable. I know that there are a lot of ladies who think that wearing a dress is easy. I hated it. So why would you make me put it on?
Yeah.
Even, so when my mother passed away, bless her heart, she asked me on her deathbed if I would, if I would put on a skirt for her funeral.
Oh.
And I did. But at the viewing the night before, I had on a cream pair of pants with a cream shell and a blue blazer and some blue Stacey Adams.
Looking like a
I was killing
stud.
it. I was straight killing it. She just said at the funeral. She didn't say at the viewing. And then after she passed away, whatever skirt I had was gone. I got rid of all of them. Because I'm done with it. This was in 2001, and I was like, I'm done with it. I'm not pretending. I'm not doing things to make other people happy. Even my father, before he passed away, was like, when are you gonna put on a dress? Never, ever. Why? Because it makes you comfortable. Why do I have to be uncomfortable to make you comfortable? What sense does that make?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
I went to prom and I actually wore a dress.
I did too, man. I was in pink, everything.
I was kind of cute with a dress on. It was weird.
Yeah, I was horrible. I looked like a bad
weird.
drag queen.
It was weird. I felt like a drag queen.
It was. Oh no, I'm not like a RuPaul good drag. No, I was one of those rejects that never mixed.
Oh shit.
It was. Oh, I was awful.
But then with my senior pictures, my mom wanted my senior pictures in the prom dress.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So I had to do it, and she made me do this stupid pose. So when she passed away, I took that and I had written her a letter, and I put that picture in there, and I said, "You love it so much, take it the hell with you."
Yeah.
And then we cleaned it at her house. And the big picture she had made with all my little pictures, that one was the main picture.
I never
Good job, Mom.
I never got my proofs turned into portraits.
Oh yeah.
But I still have the proofs. And if somebody really wants to see what I look like at 18, just look at me now. I'm just kidding.
I doubt you looked like this when you were 18.
Yeah. Other than, I mean, my face has aged a little bit, and I got a little bit more gray. But yeah, pretty much. I'm at the same weight I was then. I mean, no, listen, no. I went from, this weight to about 300, had bariatric surgery, and now I'm back down again. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So, no, I'm sure I've aged a little bit in my face. I'm trying to, pretend like I'm still super
Well, no,
fly.
your face is very young looking, but I'm not thinking your hair was like that.
Oh, no.
That's what I meant.
God, no, I had a Jerry curl back then. Remember?
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
I had a Jerry curl, baby. I was flossing.
Well, I had a mullet back then, which I am growing it back, so.
Okay.
Hey, why not, right?
Yeah.
I love the 80s.
80s were awesome,
They
weren't
were.
they?
They were.
Oh my God, the 80s were awesome. It was rough. Chocolate wasn't in then. You had to be a light-skinned black person to be cool. But
Gay wasn't as cool either, though.
Oh no, not with Ryan White and the AIDS epidemic and the real social issues that were happening. At that point, you had a president at that time who refused to even mention AIDS and what it was doing to our community. But you know what? The lesbian community stepped up, and we were the sisters to our brothers as they were going through this trauma. And so, yeah, the 80s were tough. Because if anybody said they were gay, automatically you had to have AIDS. It was terrible. I mean, and people were really dying, and there were real issues, and you had a president, kind of like now, who didn't care about a whole segment of our community.
Yeah.
So.
Unfortunately, that is true, and it's sad. But I remember having 2 male friends that had AIDS, and my mom knew when I was going over there. She's like, "Well, no, the 2 that were together, and I was going over to their house, and Mom's like, honey, just don't drink out of their glasses and don't use their toilet." Because that's how it was back then. And that's horrible, but that's how it was. Nobody knew anything. Yeah. Don't drink out of the water fountains.
Yeah. And the meds were worse than the actual disease.
Yeah.
The cocktails. I have a friend who never took any meds, and he's never gone full-blown AIDS. He's just been HIV positive. And he's never taken the meds. I mean,
did you find kind of a more natural solution, or did he do anything? Or?
I really can't say everything that he did, but I mean he's just like this stuff. It's almost like sometimes chemotherapy. Mm-hmm. Chemotherapy will take care of the cancer, but man, it knocks out everything. And so he was like, I'll just take my chances.
The side effects from that kind of stuff, with the chemotherapy, I know firsthand. It's just you live with it forever. So those medicines, what was it?
The AZT.
Thank you, AZT.
And then the cocktail.
Yeah, I mean those had to have had stupid side effects that were just horrible.
So was witnessing all that kind of what influenced you to kind of go towards more politics? Or?
No, oh God, no. I was too young, dumb, and still chewing bubble gum to think about politics in the 80s. I did not wake up. I didn't go to college till I was 35. And I finished my graduate degree at 43. And so what I learned about college, it wasn't to teach me to do a job, because that's what I went there for. I wanted to change my life, and I saw that I could be more than what I was doing. I was just existing, Mm-hmm. I was too old to be hanging out at the clubs, chasing girls I'm still gonna always do that, but too old to be hanging out at the bars. But I wanted to change my life because I saw that there was more out there. And I knew the way to do that was to get an education. So I'm 35 years old. I stopped what I was doing and I went back to school. And I thought I was going to school to learn a skill to get a job. Mm-hmm. But what going to college for me did was to open my mind and teach me how to think. So it wasn't to just say, okay, you are now going to do this. I went in and I studied information systems. But once my brain started to receive information, it's never stopped receiving information. So I started, I was already an MSNBC and political pundit watcher. I wasn't involved. I just used to yell at the television. That's all I did. And then when I started going to school, it was like, okay, no, stay focused. Get this done so that you can live. And then RFRA happened. Oh. So even with a lot of the early activist stuff going on, I wasn't involved. It wasn't until RFRA that I was like, what the devil? Or what's really going on here? So at the time, my ex-wife, she had a business, has a business, and she, had 200 employees and very successful, and we were job creators, and we contributed to the economy. And here we were living in a place where the state was saying you're second-class citizen. Yeah. And it just pissed me off when I saw how much money she was writing every year in taxes, right? And so I also saw, like, okay, Mike Pence is the governor, but Brian Bosma was getting away with all kind of shenanigans, and he was my representative. And so after RFRA passes, in 2014, I go in to cast a vote against him, and I knew he was going to win, but doggone it, I'm going to cast my rebellious vote, because he ain't, he's just going to get 100%. And I went in there, and I've been voting since '88. Michael Dukakis was in the primary, was the first person I voted for. First presidential candidate, Michael Dukakis. And I went and looked at the ballot, and there was only Brian Bosma's name for District 88. And I'm like, I've been voting a long time, so I picked it up. Maybe I thought the Republicans was on one side, the Democrats was on the other side, turned it over, and it's like, nah, there's nobody for me to vote for. So now RFRA was the spark, but not having the ability to cast my vote in a democracy against somebody that I know is really trying to cause me harm and the community that I love harm was just over the top for me. And I was like, this is stupid. There ought to be somebody on that ballot. And so I literally, from November 2014, I just started learning, well, how do you become a candidate? How do you run a campaign? The written rules and the unwritten rules. And I went to training. I spent money to go to training to be a good candidate because I wanted to run a very professional campaign. I wanted it to be respected because I knew that where I lived and how I presented was going to cause a lot of issues. So, forget about the gay part for just a second. I lived in a district that's 88% white. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I knew, forget, you may not ever know if I'm gay or straight or a male or a female, depending on what I have on, but you always know I'm black. Mm. And so I knew I said, okay, you got to be ready for this. Mm-hmm. And there were things that I prepared for. And for example, I knew that they would probably call the police on me. Sure enough, while I was out campaigning and canvassing over in McCordsville, they called the police on me. But I was prepared for it. And so when the police showed up, I explained the difference between soliciting and canvassing because, why would politicians create a law that would not allow them to go talk to their constituents?
Exactly.
Right.
And by the time the conversation was over, I was asking the officers for their vote because I knew how to handle, I was already prepared to handle that situation. So canvassing while black does happen. But then I also had like people who were supporters and who wanted to be like, I like your message and I like the way, but can you take the tie off? Do you have to wear cufflinks? I mean, come on, do you have to? And I'm like, whoa, right. And I was like, wait a second.
In my mind, well, if I'm wearing a shirt that requires cufflinks, yes, I have to wear these cufflinks, and if I'm in a collar, I should probably have a tie of some kind.
But the point is that as a female and as a woman, stuff I did, I am a woman and I get that. They wanted me to be even less disturbing you know, because, but I pushed back on that as well, you know, because it all still comes back to, in order for me to be effective or attempt to be a leader in my community, I have to lead myself. Yeah. I have to be confident in who I am. Not everybody's going to like you. Bottom line, there's going to be a lot of people that just do not like you. You might as well be yourself. Yeah. You know, why worry about what somebody else is going to think about you? Because the bottom line is, all you have is you in this world. If you're lucky, you got a couple of good loves, your mama, your parents, good woman on your arm. But for the most part, it's you. And you have to be able to look yourself in the mirror. And that's what I told myself when I ran my campaign. And it was more of the ethics part of it and, you know, how I was going to run my campaign. When it was all said and done, I wanted to be able to look in the mirror and say, I still like me.
You know, I lived in McCordsville when you ran.
Oh, yay!
I voted for you.
Did you vote for me?
Yeah, I did. Duh. I knew you. Of course. Besides, you know. But I got the flyer. And I saw it. I'm like, it's Dana. Oh. I know people are just going to look at this and just not even give her a chance.
I'm sure they did.
And that, I was so excited to see your picture. And then I was just like, the other people, unfortunately, because of your color and because you present, they're not going to give you a chance to even listen to your platform. And that, I was so excited to see it. And then I was like, oh.
Well, but
I love that you did that, though.
Here's the deal. I got 36% of the vote, which was the highest total against him in that district. So, although I didn't win, all the other straight, normal-looking people, and I'm being facetious when I say normal, but all the straight people or the white people or the men, they didn't get as many votes as I did. And then what was great about it is, okay, I didn't win, but 2 years later, Poonam Gill, who is an Asian American, comes up behind me, and she gets 45% of the vote. So we're chipping away at it. I knew that there were people who were not going to be down with me because of their own internal biases. But I also had internal biases because I was prepared for the police. But what I wasn't prepared for, I was knocking on the door of a young lady, and you know, I always had my ring the doorbell, step back 3 paces. Mm-hmm. That was my rule.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'd hold my card up so that you can see that there's a picture of me. I'm not just
absolutely
right. And the lady, you know, I say, hi, you know, my name is Dana Black. I'm a candidate running in House District 88. And before I could finish my little spiel, she says, I already have a cleaning lady.
Oh.
I was like, what do I do with that?
I assumed you weren't, I assumed you were dressed proper too. Like, she didn't even take a second to take you in at all.
But here's the killer part. Okay, so let's throw some shade because, you know, we are gay people. When I walked up, I was like, oh my God. So really, you should never tell anybody you had a cleaning lady because the outside of the yard was like, ew. It was awful. But I was like, yeah, I'm just going to back away now. And I couldn't, but again, you know, this is America. So if I get I don't get shocked and surprised at, you know, white folk behaving badly. Yeah. Like, really? Or straight people behaving bad. Christians behaving bad. I'm just not gonna what? Why get mad about it? You know it exists. You know it's there now. Let's work around it. See, once you recognize what it is, you can figure out ways to make things happen in spite of it.
For sure.
You know, I do call out the criminal justice system and, you know, cause dude, you know, Manafort got 47 months. That was insane. Now he got another 7 years for the other crimes, but this dude, you know, stole over $55 million. Kwame Fitzpatrick in Michigan got 28 years for essentially the same crimes, and he was a black guy. Granted, it was all terrible. Kwame, you know, why would you steal from your people, man? But the justice system is not blind. It sees color like a mug.
Absolutely, it does.
You know, so but getting involved and so fast forward. I lose the campaign, but I wasn't done because one of the things that happens is when you start running, there's a certain level of arrogance that makes you think that you can run for office and lead people. Mm-hmm. And I had my platform, and my platform was, you know, how dare he riff-raff? You know, that was my platform. But then when I started knocking on doors, that's not what my constituents cared about.
Yeah.
They cared about clean air, clean water, infrastructure, public education, where their tax dollars were going. And also being out there, you started to just, as you learn, because you're never done learning, and if you want to be a good leader, you need to find out about all the issues that are going on. I learned about issues that were happening in Lake County, because if I'm a House rep, I'm going to be voting on bills that would affect all 92 counties and not just Marion County or not just Hamilton County. And so you start to see, okay, wait a second. There's a lot of messed up stuff happening here that are impacting lives in a very negative way. And these elected officials are actually getting away with this because there's a supermajority. The one party, literally Democrats don't even have to show up to work. And the Republicans can pass whatever they want. They don't have to show up to work. They'll have a quorum. And so so now it's like every day I'm learning more and more. And after I lost, I was like, I don't want to be done. What else do I do with this energy? And I went and spoke to the state party chair, John Zodi, and I said, John, I want to work. I want to keep working. And so they literally created a role called Deputy Chair for Engagement. They didn't have it. And it's an appointed position. And now I get to travel in the name of the party, all 92 counties as often as I can. I've only been to like 40. and talk about who we are as Democrats and engage people. After 2016, people were so put off because people stayed home, right? They didn't think that Trump was going to win, and whatever. And the people got angry and they were sad and they were depressed. And my job was to get out and say, no. See, here's where we are. It took 100 years for women to earn the right to vote from the first meeting to the signing of the 19th Amendment. You know, it was 400 years of chattel slavery, another 100 years of Jim Crow before we get to the 1964 Civil Rights Act, 1965 Voting Rights Act. So this is 4 years. 4 years is all it is. We can get through these 4 years, but this is how we have to use this energy, and we got to make it a positive step forward. What happens in 2018? We have more women run for office than we ever have in the history of our nation. We picked up 4 seats. Four women were elected in 2018, but it was a record number going to Congress. And we have more women of color. It was so diverse.
And different in the LGBTQ.
Oh, absolutely. Gay folks just get. I go to Victory, which Victory Institute is like the organization that supports gay candidates all over the country. We were there in 2018, and they said we elected over 150 LGBTQ plus folk across the country.
That's awesome.
And then you see JD Ford.
Oh, yeah.
We've got our own. Who won? And plus Zach Adamson, who was our city county councilor. He's here in Indianapolis. He's already been. He was the first out. He was the first candidate to run out. Pete. Mayor Pete won his first election and then came out during his re-election. So there's opportunity, and then there's some other smaller seats like people don't even know about, like some county held seats and some city seats where there's LGBT folk. We are everywhere. But it was all about harnessing that energy and making sure people understood that, listen, sometimes you take 2 steps forward, you take 1 step back. The dude's orange. It ain't gonna last for long. So we've had 43 white presidents, 1 black president, and an orange president. We don't discriminate in America.
No.
But now I'm so committed because I recognize how policy impacts lives. And that was my journey. So it may not have been, I'm kind of a philosophical, nerdy, spiritual girl. The goal may not have been on this journey for me to become an elected official, but it is to articulate to people who may not understand how the system works, to get that information to them. And oh, by the way, if I run for election, it's just me running. But if I work for the party, I can help 30 candidates. I can help 50 candidates. I can go out and do stump speeches for people. I can do, I can do whatever. I can use my skill set to help other Democrats get elected. So it's because it's never about you, right? I told you I started off with my agenda, and then it all changed.
Yeah.
It stopped being about me, and it started being about the people that I care about, which are all of my, 6 million Hoosier neighbors.
That's awesome. So you do that, and is that the only thing you do? You got some other political stuff you do, right?
Yeah.
You got a few things you got going on,
I do.
right?
So I'm also the president of the Indiana Stonewall Democrats, which is a recent election for me, August last year. This is the LGBTQ plus caucus of our state party. And in this, what we do as Stonewall is that we raise money and we support LGBTQ plus candidates and our allies, right? I would love to have so many gay candidates that I don't have enough money for my allies. I really do, but it's not like that, right? Mm-hmm. We don't get equality, we don't get marriage, we don't get a lot of the things that we're working on without people who are straight helping us out.
Absolutely.
And so we support our gay candidates and we support our allies. So in 2018, we were able to donate money to every gay candidate that was on the ballot.
That's awesome.
Well, let me rephrase that. We were able to donate to every out gay candidate that was on the ballot. Yeah. If you're not running out,
sorry.
That's the whole point, you know.
Right.
You know.
I love that it's Stonewall, and this is actually the
50th anniversary. Yeah, I know, and as an organization, we're working on something.
Well,
we tease,
okay.
you know, there we go, tease. We're working on some things, but it's also about we visit all the prides. Last year we visited I think 8 prides. We had a booth, and all the candidates who are in whatever the area is, who were endorsed or support our views or willing to show up at a pride event, we allow them to put their stuff in our booth. So they don't have to go buy a booth. Mm-hmm. We're already going to have a booth there. So come, you know, you save your money for lit. You save your money for whatever else you have to buy. Yeah. You come and sit in our booth. And people were able to meet candidates who care about our LGBTQ plus community up front, close, personal, ask questions, all that good stuff. Yeah. And in fact, Indy Pride kind of got rained out, but we had like a prime spot, like right at the entrance, and we had a double spot, and we had candidates literally from 4 different congressional districts. So we had, you know, Courtney Trich from the 3rd, Dee Thornton from the 5th, Thomas. Let's see. I'm drawing a blank, but anyway, we had candidates come from all over to come because Indy Pride's the biggest.
Oh yeah.
You know, so and we had a booth and they set their stuff up. Of course, we got rained out and wind blown, but we'll be back again this year because again, it's about our community understanding how policy impacts our lives and making sure that we have people in place that are looking out for us. Mm-hmm. So I'm super passionate about it because there was a time we didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's true.
We were sneaking in through the back door.
Yeah, we were.
You know. You know, now we're pulling up a chair, we're sitting down, we're going to roll up our sleeves, and our issues are all human issues. What LGBTQ plus couple doesn't want their kid to get a quality education? Mm-hmm. You know, what LGBTQ plus person of color just wants to be treated fairly or have a good job or have clean air and clean water, you know, want to know where their taxes are going? Our issues are everybody else's issues. Now, hate crimes, I don't know why we're only one of 5 states. Yes, I do. I know why.
Really? Oh, that's not a question, is it? Really?
Yeah, well.
Okay, off that.
Yeah.
So is that, you have a radio program or something?
I do. I have a show called Turn Left. It is strictly a political show, and we interview candidates. A couple weeks ago, I just had the mayor of Bloomington on.
Okay.
I've had the state party chair on a couple of times. I've had the Congressman Carson on.
Okay.
But we had so many candidates that want to come on the show that I had to start double booking. It was like I can't do one at a time anymore. I have to do 2 candidates, and it's not just a Central Indiana thing. I get candidates from all over the state. I've got a mayoral candidate from Muncie coming on, a mayoral candidate from Richmond coming on, and one from South Bend. And they come down for an hour. They tell us who they are, and it's about getting that exposure.
Yeah, getting to know them.
Yep, because Republicans have a voice and a stronghold in our state, right? Yeah. Everybody knows that Indiana's conservative, but it's not a 70-30 split like our state house looks like. It's more like a 55-45 split. And if we can get some exposure, because there are counties where, you know, Democrats don't know that they're not alone. Mm-hmm. So we have to, you know, let them know you're not alone. There are other Democrats out here. You know, in Rensselaer, in Cass County, in White County, in Kosciuszko County, these places, you know, where there's not big urban centers, there are Democrats. And they're Democrats who want your vote and want to serve you. So, you know, and I'm fortunate enough that the platform is holding up and folks want to come on the show. Candidates, you know, literally, I'm booked out to the middle of June right now.
Wow.
Awesome.
That is good.
Well, especially with election year coming
Yeah,
up, like, you're going to be one of the best exposures for all of
Oh,
us.
absolutely. And it's the municipal races too. So, and we only have one every 4 years we have one non-election year.
Where can we hear the radio?
RadioNext.tv, which is a live radio station. HB Harold Bell, I'll tell you, he's been doing some great stuff over there. All community, all the time. He has multiple different shows about community-based topics. Like he has a mental health show, he has a veteran show, he has a senior show, and then my political show. And then I also do a Facebook Live every Thursday from 6 to 7. So you can always visit my page, Dana Black. It's wide open. You know, because I don't be putting all my nasty girlfriend business on Facebook. So, you know how that go, right?
Yeah, that's a good call.
My page is pretty much strictly, and plus I have kids on my page. My page is strictly, it's wide open. You know, I have my Dana Black page and I have an Indiana Zone page because I've reached the 5,000 mark. So, and you can catch it there, watch it live. And really just, it's about information and getting you information. I also have a podcast called Policy with a Purpose. That's on JL Media. That's on JL Media, and it's my attempt at being in the middle.
Okay, how does that go?
Not very well. But I have a co-host. Her name is Renee Ellsbury, and she is brilliant. She literally will read every bill that is introduced in the General Assembly, and there's hundreds, and she reads every one of them, and so we discuss it, and it's really just about, we try to say center, we're really just trying to give you the information and then tell you what to do if you're for or against it, who you contact, and what these bills mean, what they do, how they impact you. It's just information based. So that's Policy with a Purpose on JL Media. And then I also write for the Indianapolis Business Journal, Forefront, on a monthly basis. So I get to give my opinion, and it's written for prosperity.
There you go. So, any chance of running again, you think?
I would love to run for office again. Excuse me. The one thing is I'm a party girl. And since moving from Brian Bosma's districts, and I know he's like, he was sweating bullets.
Yeah.
No. Where I've moved, there are some solid Democrats. So it'll be a minute if I decide to run. Unless I ran for either a countywide or a statewide. So right now, like I said, me running is just one person. But with the work that I can do, I can help 15 people.
That's what I figured you would say no because you like doing this more.
I would love to be an elected official. I think there's so much joy in being, think about it. You can write a policy or write a bill that positively impacts lives. For example, this year, we should have had a bill to give teachers raises. Mm-hmm. There were some that were written, but obviously the Republicans don't want to hear that. They don't want to give, the future of our state an opportunity to learn from the best teachers. No, we don't want that. But say I'm writing this bill, or I'm a co-sponsor on this bill, and this bill passes. I mean, that's got to be like an amazing feeling. Like Christina Hale, who used to be our House rep in '87, and then ran for lieutenant governor with John Gregg in '16. She authored a bill to address rape on college campuses, and her bill was passed. And she talked about what an accomplishment that was to say that she has a bill that was put in place to protect young women on college campuses. And I dream of one day writing that piece of legislation that gets passed that impacts lives. I mean, that would be amazing. There's other ways for me to get it done, though. We'll see.
I just got to ask this. This is kind of off subject, but I have a feeling you met Liz Bennett at that place that you said you go from Iowa, the senator from Iowa.
I've not met Liz.
You haven't met her?
I may have.
She said she knew you.
Oh yeah, I met her. I sure did.
She's a queer legislator or something.
Yeah,
Probably at that
I probably
place
got her card. Yeah,
that you guys went. Yeah, she said
Victory.
You should have her on your show, and I'm like, yeah, we're going to.
Trust me, I am trying to do everything I can to leverage Victory to help us here in Indiana, because we don't. Unfortunately, here in Indiana, we're still like, we have the loser syndrome. We're perpetual losers. We need to see what winning looks like. True. I need to bring some of those winning LGBT folks here. Stop flying over Indiana. Come and stop and say hey and show us what it looks like to win. I mean, in Minnesota in 2017, they elected 2 trans people of color to their city council.
Wow.
2.
That's awesome.
And I met both of them before they ran at Victory. And it's like, we can do this. Yeah. We just have to know what it looks like and believe that it's possible. Right now we don't have enough belief yet. But again, I'm an African American woman, so I'm a black chick, so I'm used to obstacles. Yeah. So I think there's a special. I'm not saying that there's not resiliency in other people. I'm just saying, as a black woman in America, it's you've had to have like a little special resiliency because we're often just discounted. We don't. R. Kelly been kidnapping women for 2 decades. Ain't nobody said nothing. Now it's like nobody cares about the black woman and where she is. But when Senator Jones was running in Alabama, and Alabama was about to elect a pedophile, the black women in Alabama said, "Oh, we ain't having none of that. We're not doing that." And they literally, the black women, the Democrats, the women, they said, "This is not happening. We are going to get this Democrat elected," and they did everything that they possibly could to get this man elected. Black women took over. Black women in the Democratic Party in Alabama took over and helped propel him to a victory so that Alabama has its first Democratic senator.
Wow.
Right?
That's awesome.
Because people, when you look at America, they did, they have that totem pole and where everybody kind of sits. It's white guy. Mm-hmm. You can flip-flop the white woman, black guy kind of thing, depending on where you are. But black women are always usually at the bottom. And I tell people all the time, no, we're not at the bottom. We just been holding this bad boy up.
Mm-hmm. We're the foundation.
We is. We holding it up, baby.
We greatly appreciate you coming in and talking
to us. My pleasure.
We could talk probably, I think, for another 3 hours.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. That's what I do. Yeah.
Your passion just shows through, and it radiates off of you.
And hopefully, you guys know it's genuine, and I'm easy to find.
And stylish as always.
Oh, thank you. I mean, if you're gonna do it right. You know what I'm saying? We don't do no clip-ons around here.
Gosh, no.
So I gotta tell you, growing up, like everybody has that somebody that they look at and go, "I want to be like that." It was never some female.
Mm-mm.
Billy D. Williams. That was the coolest cat on the planet. So, I wanted to be Billy D. Williams. If I'm going to be anybody. I used to look at GQ magazine.
Yeah.
I wasn't looking at Glamour.
No. I don't think I've ever looked at something like that.
No, me either. I was like, oh yeah, that's it.
We had the black skates, that's why.
Black.
Anyways, thank you so much.
Pleasure was on mine. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hey guys, if you want to be on the Gays of Our Lives, just send us a message on our website. There's a contact me page, or you can follow us
on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter.
Yep.
And YouTube. You can also listen if you don't want to watch our ugly mugs. Just kidding. You can hear us on Spotify, iTunes, SoundCloud, and just about any other platform you can.
This has been Gays of Our Lives. Make sure to check out the Gays online at www.laughs.life. And since Lisa and Avery don't have a lot of money, this episode has been brought to you by
Higher Life CBD Dispensary for all your CBD needs. Located downtown Indianapolis at 901 North Pennsylvania Street. And make sure you tell them the Gays sent you.